So Necesse just got a huge update. This settlement simulator game just got a complete overhaul to its graphics. So I'd like to invite friend of the channel, my good buddy Brandon James, on to tell you about the game, since he's logged a lot more hours than I have, and then I'll come back and we will dig into the patch notes a little bit. So take it away, Brandon.
Have you ever found yourself stuck deciding between playing Terraria, RimWorld, or Stardew Valley? It's an understandable conundrum, to be sure, but the pro gamer move might be to just get Necesse and play some of the finest components of each all at the same time. I know that's a bold claim, and this game doesn't throw too much at you at the beginning, so at first glance it might even seem a little shallow, at least for the first couple of hours. In actuality, this game is large. There's a ton to do, a huge world to explore, and sprawling settlements to build. There are bosses, raiders, and all kinds of monsters to fight. A casual single settlement playthrough of the main quest can take 50 or 60 hours to complete, but there's plenty more to do in the endgame and tons of replayability. Of course, there's also multiplayer with a dedicated server option, so you can rope your friends in too. Necesse can definitely get challenging, but luckily the developers leaned hard into the sandbox element and gave the player plenty of easy toggles in the settings to customize your experience at any time, so the game can be just as easy or difficult as you'd like. And now with the latest update, the graphics have received a much appreciated overhaul and are significantly easier on the retinas, so there's really never been a better time to jump in. My top recommendations for new players are to first go into the game settings and adjust the zoom level to your liking. From there, just take your time exploring and finding all the wild things that this game has to offer.
So the biggest part of this update is the graphics, of course, so we'll go over that first. According to the patch notes, they reworked over 3,200 assets to match the new graphics style. Windows should also now use your dedicated graphics card to run the game, which I don't think Necesse is a graphically demanding game, but it's definitely going to help you fully enjoy the updates. The shaders have been adjusted to better suit the pixelated art style of the game, and smooth lighting has been added to rocks and walls. There's also been a fix resolving ambient lighting flickering for a second when using non-standard daytime modifiers. I really like that they're not just polishing the game with this update, but also applying some fixes, which I'm sure some players will be pretty excited about. Aside from the graphics, there's some other polish items. Like they've added 2 new boss soundtracks. Sage and Grit and the Cryo Queen are getting some new tunes. Okay, now let's get into the cosmetics. I feel like some of these will really add to the immersion. Right from the start, you'll have more choices with the shirt and shoe colors. You'll also be able to change your skin and eye color at the stylist if you've got some void shards to spare. You'll now be able to buy settler cosmetic gear from each settler or stylist. There's 20 new hairstyles, 12 new eye types, and 8 new beard types. You can select these during character creation and when changing at the stylist. Your hairstyle will also now be shown underneath many of the hats and helmets in the game. Some new items available at the stylist are the captain boots, the pirate eye patch, and the pirate bandana with the eye patch. So some different pirate options now available, and also the hard hat is now available for purchase from the blacksmith. So moving on to the settlers, along with all these cosmetic updates, the settlers themselves can spawn with different genders and hairstyles and skin colors. Some of their default cosmetics have also been tweaked. You'll be able to see the item they're hauling as they walk around now. And this might be more of a UI thing, which we'll get into more UI stuff, but their full inventory will only be shown when it's important. Settlers will now sit down on chairs and benches to eat if possible, or to shorten their work break. And now when a settler is exiting a bed, if it's a cramped space, they won't exit, they'll get stuck. And on the subject of sleeping settlers, there was an issue of sometimes not being able to place objects near sleeping settlers, which has now been fixed. Some updates regarding banners. Settlers can now use them if you manually give them one. And also banner stands will now buff all settlers within range. And also strike banners are now obtainable. You can randomly find them in village chests. And lastly, on settlers, there's been an update to their mood icons. The interval between when the mood icons are updated has been increased. So I guess that means those icons will update less often. And now on to a couple of gameplay related updates. Firstly, there's 16 new achievements you can earn. They've also added the ability to sit on chairs and benches. This is a potentially huge update. I really do enjoy sitting on chairs and benches in real life, so this in my opinion is very immersive. There's been an update to character creation, fixing worlds running in the background when selecting or creating your character. Sounds like maybe something you might not want to be happening when you're in the process of character creation. So this is pretty cool. You can now craft a landscaping station at the advanced workstation, which has a bunch of recipes of different rocks and objects. So you can change the appearance of your world with this. One other gameplay item is an issue was fixed with the Zephyr boots. They now no longer disable the Zephyr charm trinket. Onto the environment, let's start out with something really cool about the water. How it's rendered has been reworked. So its depth is gradual and there are deep and shallow parts. You can also now connect fences to cave rocks. You can place flowers in the wild for decoration. And there's a new entity called the Stabby Bush. You can find it creeping around in the wilds. And finally, one last gameplay related update is there's a toggle in the pouches to disable auto pickup. So this might help with some inventory related issues. And this is actually a nice segue into user interface updates, which there are a few. So one really cool thing they've added to the UI in this update is the screenshot tool to the island map. I love capturing and sharing screenshots in my games, and usually it's not too challenging. But this is a nice feature to make it easier to capture if you're big on cartography or archiving or what have you. An expression wheel has been added. You can hold down T to use it. The UI has been reworked for the control settings, and now you can also restore key bindings to their default setting. They've also reworked the UI for the host world screen, the character creator, and the stylist, which is awesome to go along with all those extra cosmetics they've added. There's also been some tweaks to the health, mana, resilience, and hunger bars, and an issue has been fixed regarding too many tooltips showing up, with compressed worlds in the loading menu. There's updated colors for objects and tiles on the minimap to match the new art style. And a couple updates to help out with questing. The journal button will blink when a new entry is available, and talking to the Elder will go straight to the quest UI if you're able to complete it. There have been a few updates to mods and servers and some under the hood stuff. They fixed some crashes when trying to run certain commands. They've made mod patches logging more robust, and added some illegal mod patches so the game will ignore these to increase the stability of the game, prevent crashes and mod conflicts. The window, graphics, and sound systems have been changed significantly, and if you use the dash help option, you can see even more newly added launch options. And an issue has been fixed that would wipe some of the world data, like adventure party settlers, when restoring backups. There's also been some other small changes and fixes, so if you notice anything else, you can totally post it down in the comments. If you go to their YouTube channel, you can see a comparison video that they posted, and then there is a new trailer to go along with this update as well, which came out a couple weeks ago. And the game is on sale. They had a bundle with RimWorld, a popular sci-fi colony simulator last week, but if you missed out on that, now's a great time to grab Necesse as they celebrate the new update. And lastly, I just want to highlight this Necesse Live Roadmap 2024 that they have. You can see all the recently added features. They got the incursion rework, survival mode, mana and resilience, adventure parties, and cross-world characters. The ongoing features are the new incursion content, items, mini biomes, enemies, community suggestions, and quality of life. And then the major updates, of course, the improved graphics, and then there's also the tutorial and onboarding, settlement improvements, settler interactions, and the economy rework. It's always really cool to see developers sharing the stuff that they intend to add to the game in early access. I'm really excited to continue watching Necesse get closer to its 1.0 release, and I gotta say, making this video and reading through all these changes has really gotten me more excited about putting more hours into the game. Thanks again to Brandon James for his excellent review and overview of the game. I'm sure we'll be doing some more collaborations on this channel in the future. Thanks to you for watching, and check out more of my videos about video games. I'm Andy Glover, and I'll see you in the next one.